Born.
Born ready.
Okay, we go on.
I could wait. I brought my English version. Where are we at? Manual for teachers.
But I prefer Gary to read. Okay,
she has a personal preference, Gary.
I bow to wisdom. Number 2?
Yeah, who are their
No,
pupils? No, we did the introduction, the first question, who are God's teachers, and now number 2, who are their pupils?
So as Astrid pointed out, who are their pupils? Certain pupils have been assigned to each of God's teachers. They will begin to look for him as soon as he has answered the call. They were chosen for him because the form of the universal curriculum that he will teach is best for them in view of their level of understanding. His pupils have been waiting for him, for his coming is certain. Again, it is only a matter of time. Once he has chosen to fulfill his role, they are ready to fulfill theirs. Time waits on his choice, but not on whom he will serve. When he is ready to learn, the opportunities to teach will be provided for him. In order to understand the teaching, learning plan of salvation, it is necessary to grasp the concept of time that the course sets forth. Atonement corrects illusions, not truth. Therefore, it corrects what never was. Further, the plan for this correction was established and completed simultaneously, for the will of God is entirely apart from time. So is all reality being of him. The instant the idea of separation entered the mind of God's Son, in that same instant was God's answer given. In time, this happened very long ago. In reality, of course, it never happened at all. The world of time is the world of illusion. What happened long ago seems to be happening now. Choices made long since appear to be open, yet to be made. What has been learned and understood and long ago passed by is looked upon as a new thought, a fresh idea, a different approach. Because your will is free, you can accept what has already happened at any time you choose. And only then will you realize that it was always there. As the Course emphasizes, you're not free to choose the curriculum or even the form in which you will learn it. You are free, however, to decide when you want to learn it, and as you accept it, it is already learned. Time really then goes backward to an instant so ancient that it is beyond all memory, and past even the possibility of remembering. Yet because it is an instant that is relived again and again and still again, it seems to be now. And thus it is that pupil and teacher seem to come together in the present, finding each other as if they had not met before. The pupil comes at the right time to the right place. This is inevitable because he made the right choice in the ancient instant, which he now relives. So the teacher too made an inevitable choice out of an ancient past. God's will in everything, but seems to take time in the working out. What could delay the power of eternity? When pupil and teacher come together, a teaching-learning situation begins. For the teacher is not really the one who does the teaching. God's teacher speaks to any two who join together for learning purposes. The relationship is holy because of that purpose, and God has promised to send his Spirit into any holy relationship. In the teaching learning situation, each one learns that giving and receiving are the same. The demarcations they have drawn between their roles, their minds, their bodies, their needs, their interests, and all the other differences they thought separated them from one another fade and grow dim and disappear. Those who would learn the same course share one interest and one goal, and thus he who was the learner becomes a teacher of God himself. For he has made the one decision that gave his teacher to him. He has seen in another person the same interests as his own.
So basically, the teacher of God is the pupil also. Let's go back to what we were talking about earlier, Adriana. Like we come to the point where, where we start to, it's the same.
Of course.
Everything is the same. But there's several things that stand out. I mean, the whole passage is beautiful, and it holds everything in of the course in it. But what's interesting is it's talking about pupils, supposedly, right? And that when he is ready to learn, the opportunities to teach will be provided for him. So the pupil is the teacher is the pupil. We were talking about yesterday that you learn by teaching.
I would say too, though, that this this of course can only happen free of the ego. It goes without saying, but it can also be misunderstood that these relationships can get lost in the context of ego. And
Yeah,
so
the ego can't understand it.
It's important that there's a relationship with the Holy Spirit before truth can be shared. And I think this is where I got yesterday. After I read, you asked Astrid if I had any comments to make. And it was interesting to watch where I went in this process. And I spent some time afterwards, and even this morning, thinking about this. And it took me right back to my childhood, oddly enough, beautifully enough. I was a horrible student in school. It wasn't for lack of intelligence. It was for lack of an ability of this mind to process information in a way that was expected in a classroom. And I immediately started sifting through pages and through words looking for a response. I was clearly lost in ego. There wasn't a resourcefulness of truth. There was an attempt at resourcefulness through ego. And then Adriana made a comment and I just jumped on it. Like that was my door out. And then what this decisive mind does is, of course, is that in the same process, it's making Astrid wrong for pushing me into a place that, doesn't she understand this is not a place of comfort for me? Of course you don't, right? So as I was emerging from bed this morning, I was thinking, I should probably pre-read today's passage, right? This is how the fucking ego works, right? I'll pre-read and I'll make some notes so I'll have something to say. Fuck that. And as I was sitting this morning, all this was starting to kind of filter through and realizing that I'm not going to give ego a moment's time. If I should come up again this morning and Astrid wants my input, I'd just gently say, you know, I'm not in a place where I can speak the truth. And let it be that. So,
And
you know,
just
as
by
always,
saying that, and just by saying that, you already are in truth.
of course. I mean, the door was open as soon as it became clear that speaking from ego was not an option. So, you know, always grateful for the players in this play of mine that reflect back to me the pieces. And this is my daily, if not hourly prayer. You know, this notion of teach me, guide me, show me. You know, all the perfect truths to my awareness. Let me see it. Didn't say it was going to be easy. Didn't say it was going to be comfortable. And so in the beginning, there's that ego fighting.
What
And then
else is
comes
new?
freedom. Huh?
What else is new?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
know,
but
this is
nothing is at random.
no.
And Astrid got the impression that you weren't really motivated to participate anymore. But I said, no, Astrid. He's willing. He wants to do this. Let's commit, you know, because he's committed.
The other thing that I'll say too is a couple things. One is in my relationship with Elizabeth, I think there were many times where I was doing the same thing that I was perceiving Astrid was doing to me yesterday, which was to put her into places where the only resource she had available to her was her ego. And she'd get flustered and couldn't think straight, and usually would almost always have to go away and then come back. Maybe gone for a day, maybe gone for a week. And so it was also look into that, you know, that window. And the other piece that I'll say, I've been accused for years by my partners of being moody in the morning. And it's not moodiness, it's quietness. I'm just more quiet on most mornings than I am maybe later in the day. So yeah, there's no lack of interest or motivation here by any stretch. I watched a piece last night by David Hawkins, and it was about, and it's the way this part of mind hears, but it was about a more ferocious commitment to moving away from, not moving away from ego, but really staying present with what is and surrendering to God. To not being lackadaisical, to not letting my mind just wander at willy-nilly, but to really take a ferocious approach to it. And it spoke clearly to me. And almost immediately, that's where I jumped into. And out through the night, when I woke up at 12:30 and didn't go back to sleep for 2-3 hours, I just laid in bed and I just kept surrendering to God. So there's not a lack of motivation here by any stretch. It's just that I'm accused of being moody in the morning sometimes, and sometimes I'm caught up in ego, you know, it's like, whatever.
Sometimes the morning lasts the whole day.
Sometimes the morning lasts longer than it's supposed to. So.
But you're laughing more, and I bet that you're more at peace.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, so I don't have any problem reading, and I certainly do not wish for you or any you, Astrid, or Adriana, to not inquire into what my perceptions are, because I've just laid out this story. I'm not saying it for that.
Yeah, and that won't stop us from doing whatever needs to be done, because what we
Exactly.
take from this lesson is that everything is perfect. If you get it, if you get the gist of it, is that nothing is a random. Nothing. Just your willingness is up to you, and that's the choosing of the ego or the Holy Spirit at any moment. But the characters, the situations, the persons, whatever they're gonna say, it's already done, corrected, and never happened. So if you can rely on that enough, you can be present to every moment. And
Sí,
don't give a fuck,
sí,
truly. Be so,
sí.
so free to join with everything and be as helpful as you can be, and yet be happy for everybody that is involved. And then give you the freedom to just say, okay, this is on my mind, I can heal it, and I want to heal it.
Sí.
That would be the ferociousness, which has not to do with the usual word of ferociousness that we use in the language as it is, like as something that is aggressive. It's something that is very diligent,
Exactly.
and it's
Exactly.
diligent for its own good, for its own well-being. But now the well-being of the being is so wide and so big and so all-encompassing that it can include everything,
Sí.
because it then stops judging too. When it stops judging, everything is automatically included.
Yeah, I would, certainly yesterday morning, this mind was in a pretty uncomfortable fit. But there's nothing to trade. I wouldn't trade it. Like in the morning, yeah, yesterday morning, I don't like it. But today it's the clarity is what I'm here for. The truth is what I'm here for. So I'm, bring it on.
Exactly.
Lovely.
Bring it on.
Sí.
But I don't want anyone to cater to this ego.
No.
I just don't want it.
There was no worry about that.
No, I understand. It's more of a statement I think I'm making. Like Elizabeth, in a lot of ways, through our relationship, would cater to my ego so that she could feel better. I think.
Mhm.
And I think it's what we do in relationship, and it's just not worth it.
Yeah, there's a way that the Holy Spirit can make us feel really good and still not cater for the ego.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's when we put all things in his hands. It's a metaphorical way of appealing to our higher self. Because eventually, as we had the revelation at one moment that it was said to her, the only problem is that you still think that there's another. Which is so clear, so easy, so fundamentally the problem. Just very distilled right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the good thing is that we know that we don't have to think like that anymore.
We still do,
So-
but yes, we don't have to.
We don't have to, and if we do step into that, we can go to a space where we don't take anything personally.
And we still do, but we don't have to.
And then
Very rarely.
there's a concept of the answer that is included in that what you read, of time and the answer.
Uh-huh.
Because just as the whole error was put into motion, the answer was given instantaneously. And for each second that there's an error, there's a corresponding answer to that same error. In truth, the answer is the same. It doesn't vary because the answer does not depend on the error. But in a practical manner, whenever you find yourself thinking with the ego, you can stop and ask for guidance in the moment, and there you receive the answer, which is an eternal answer that has never changed. And it's whatever you need in the moment to accept your true reality and be at peace with whatever. That will be the result of you recognizing that you received the answer that you asked for. And then the total correction that happened in an instant is just another way of saying that time never was.
See.
So there's no need to worry yourself out or wear yourself down, like worrying and wearing
Sí.
yourself because you're still thinking with the ego. Because let me tell you, nothing that happens in this level is of the spirit. That's why the court said it doesn't matter how much you claim to God in words. It's not here in this level. That everybody on this level will talk from the ego because it's not the words. The communication is not in the words. So remind yourself that when you're thinking that you can make a difference or something of truth or the ego in this realm or in this duality world. It is not that. It's just the ego making something special and therefore something true out of what is nothing.
Mhm.
Have the kindness and the compassion not to make distinctions, which is a judgment, not to make distinctions on somebody that is speaking from the ego or speaking from truth, because nobody can speak from truth right here. And everybody's doing the best that they can. And everybody's one and nobody has come here. And you want to get there as soon as you can. Instead of trying to analyze past motives or past experience, past behaviors, all is the same and all is repeating itself all the time in different forms, but it's the same error. And then you get stuck trying to think that one behavior is better than the other, or that one words are better than the other, or that one memory is better than the other, when you're passing the truth all along, because all of them are illusory. So it's kind of like an end run that the ego is doing on yourself, now trying to become more spiritual and more correctly uh, spoken or whatever. But it's all the same. You cannot make any distinction on behavior, on words, or nothing. Because ultimately the truth is in you. It's not in something that is happening outside of you, or people, or past memories, or anything. And that will get you to the point of the present moment more quickly than if you try to divide into categories and analyze over and over. without knowing that you still doing the same shit with another so-called spiritual form.
Mhm.
When you're there, you know, and we all are there, and we never were there, so there's no need to make differences about what happening here, because that will keep the joy away from you, you know. All that you can experience here that is from God is peace and joy. And it's not from God really, it's from the voice of God that you have retained with you as your true, the part of your true self, that when you're ready to make the choice, you automatically will have the whole truth in front of you. And it's not new. Okay, we were talking, Astrid and I today, the fact, it's a fact that we as individuals cannot decide anything. So therefore, the invitation is to stop judging. We are called just to accept, and what we ultimately want to accept is that we are pure spirit, and that our only function in time is to heal the whole mind, the whole thing. So if you want to heal the whole, you cannot make any exception or any distinction or any analysis. It's like an automatic answer. It's the whole. There's no but. It cannot be an if or a but. It's the whole. So that kind of ferociousness, using the word of your friend, or diligence, which I prefer,
Yeah.
will make the gap between the thought of the ego and the holiness of the spirit, like in an instant in which you don't participate in thinking about anything. And that's what you want. That's the peace that passes all understanding, because it doesn't go to judging before it can understand. And that's really what you want to accomplish in time. That's what the Course says. You use time to remember the eternal. When you have remembered the eternal, time won't have any need, nor the body, nor the dreams, nor anything, because you will get what you are. And then in the meantime, you cherish your progress. You're allowed to cherish your progress and to be happy.
Sí.
Fabuloso.
Is it too early for this?
No.
I mean, for me, it's 12 already, so I've been up since 6. So I'm quite awake.
Me too. I've been up since 6:30, 7:30. Sí.
This year is Astrid de Madrugadora.
Sí.
¿Cómo se dice eso?
The early riser. Astrid the early riser.
That's Astrid's nickname for the year.
How's it going with Monica?
It's going good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good.
You feel
Yeah.
feel good about starting all over again.
Yeah. I feel good.
Hmm.
It's like it's only this is the fourth day of the year, and it feels super deep. Like it's been like I was like a precipice, and it's one in 4 days it's been like a huge like jump. for
Nice.
me. That's how it feels.
Nice.
And it has a lot to do with, you know, these encounters that we have between us. So, and I love how at the end of the year, only like five or 6 days ago, I had no idea what was going to happen in the new year. I think we had talked about it, and then everything was arranged perfectly without my effort in reference to time, what, you know, what videos we're going to make. And I didn't think that I didn't have any plan. I didn't plan this. And then all of a sudden I'm making 3 videos each day. And to me, it's perfect. It's like, wow, when you say that, you know, that yes, or yeah, I'm willing to take the plunge. It's just like, all right, everything is organized specifically for your own personal learning experience. So my learning experience looks like this, and I couldn't have planned it myself. Because if I had planned it, it would have felt just completely, it just, you know, for me, when I start to plan, it just feels wrong now. Because I can't plan anything. I can't, because in planning, I have to judge. I have to judge what would be good for me. And I don't know that. So the surrendering process is very essential. And then once you start to have the experience of everything being taken care for you, specifically for you, then going off on your own and doing some other plan with the, obviously going off on your own means going off with your small self, with your ego, doesn't feel attractive. It doesn't feel good anymore. When I have this option where I don't, like Adriana says, I don't have to think about it. I still get into thinking and planning because I have this situation with Lilo, because Lilo has to get on that plane with me. I think he has to get on the plane with me on the 14th, and I can't find a veterinarian that will look at him. So I have, you know, several options now. And I see myself, you know, like, oh, this is heavy. And then the idea just came to me, well, if you can't get on the plane, then that's what it is. If I have to stay more days, and if I have to stay more days so that I can get whatever is necessary for him to get on the plane with me, then that's what's gonna happen. And that's fine. You know, right now I'm doing this, and I'm doing in practical sense, in a worldly sense. Well, I'm calling around, and I have to call. I called the vet today, and the person who responded was really lovely and beautiful. And she says, I have an appointment on the 11th, but I understand that you need something before that. Let me talk to the vet, and call me at 12, from 12 to 1, and see if I can get you in before that. Because I know that we've done this before with people who are traveling. And she was so nice and lovely. And, you know, I'm like, this is the purpose of this, is to connect and to see the loveliness, and to receive the beautiful love, the reflection of love in your brothers and sisters, which include this wonderful person that talked to me on the phone with a seeming problem that I have, that I need to get my dog to Puerto Rico with me on the 14th. And if the dog has to stay, that's something that I would have to, you know, let go. I do have a possibility of someone that will come in and stay here for the 5 months. And I'm sure that she would be willing to take care of the dog if that was included. So, you know, everything is organized, will be organized for me. But I do see myself still like trying to plan, and then, well, why? Because when I start to plan and get frustrated, is because I have a specific outcome that I want. And then I go to that, and I think, wait, this is the outcome that I'm thinking is the best. I don't even know. And what would be the alternative? Well, these alternatives, I can accept those alternatives as well. It's no problem. You know, it's better to live like that than to live with the ego who wants things to be done in a certain way, who believes he knows what's best for you or for us, which we don't. Yeah.
Yep.
So anything else?
Hey, those flash drives ever get to you?
The what? Flash
I
drive?
sent, have they made it
No,
to you yet?
no, mail has been slow here. I think it's gonna pick up this week. But I have, like, for example, I had ordered, several gifts for Christmas for Adi and for Yeveu that never got here. Thankfully, I had other options. But yeah,
Okay.
I've been, now I'm receiving the second gifts, and I'm like, okay, for Reyes, para Dia de Reyes, because we celebrate Three Kings Day, January 6th. So I'm like, that's another example of how you plan. You never know why you're planning or what
Yeah.
you're doing.
Yeah.
You never
Yeah, I think
know
they-
the purpose of anything.
I think they were sent USPS, so it probably is
Okay.
slow.
Yeah, it's been slow, but it's been coming in.
Yeah.
But I think that this week, I have several things that I'm waiting on, and I think that this week it will get here.
Okay.
We'll get here when it has to get here.
Yep.
If not, then the person, my stepdaughter, or the person that will be staying here possibly will be able to send it to me to
Yeah.
Puerto Rico.
Very good.
Okay, ¿estamos bien?
Sí.
Muy bien.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Thank you. Muy apreciada el tiempo que
Have a lovely
se
day.
toman. Have a lovely day.
Yep,
Los
you
amo.
too. Be well.
Bye. Bye.